All right, now let's talk a little bit about preparing to sing. And if we are breathers and we breathe behind us and we plan to lean the voice forward, what kind of preparation do you think my breath should create? If I do a ba 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 ba, we did one before, and my body responds, my back responds, I'm going to breathe way down my back. Ba 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 ba, but I didn't prepare. I used the bob to get things going. Now, how do I prepare my breath to sing? La 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 la. What is the difference between using an instigator and not using anything, just starting? Sometimes it sounds like you start right out of the blue. I thought of W. Henderson, the critic for the New York Sun for 55 years, said he'd only heard one perfect attack in his lifetime as a music critic, and that was Enrico Caruso. Which is pretty nice. Yeah, he had a nice career. What can you say, right? So if I do these vocalises, now I'm going to stop. I want to think more about how do I prepare myself to sing. If I inhale if I sing while I'm still inhaling, and I go, la, la, la. Now, did I prepare or not? What did I do to prepare my breath for singing? Right now, I'm busy inhaling. La. So, breathe. La. La, 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 la. Where's the preparation and how do I prepare? That time I sang while I was still breathing in. What if I breathe out? La 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 la. Did I prepare my breath or not? See? Breathe in, way down your lower back. Always recommend this snore breathing, which is the way to learn how to do diaphragmatic lift, which is. And now I'm going to start singing and just see what happens. Okay? Here we go. Did anything happen? You got music. What did I do to prepare to sing? 5,500 seat theater, 120 piece orchestra, no microphones. How do you prepare to sing, guys? Think about it. Sometimes they lift your pelvis. Oh, that's not a preparation for singing. That's a preparation for ugliness. Oh, you see? The idea is all these people who cover just means the middle voice is out of place. I go, ma, 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 ma. I can't get up there unless I go, no. I have to do a whole big change of my throat and modify everything. The first rule of the Concert School used to be, well, it was, and they don't do it anymore, which is no action in the throat. No action in the throat. The second rule was no change of mission. So I down bow the whole time. If I cover, I have to go la. It doesn't matter if you like it better or not. What happens is I'm 83 years old and I'm still singing. If you want to be a professional singer, you must get through performance after performance after performance and rehearsal after rehearsal. And it goes on for year in and year out, for a lifetime. If you're a successful professional singer, see? So you have to figure out, you're singing in all these different orchestras with different conductors and different acoustics and blah, blah, blah. And you're going to tell me you're going to go on every passaggio note? Holy cow, as George London said, what do you think about all this covering on the passaggio notes? He said, He said, I sing Boris Godunov and Wotan. Do you really think that I am going to take my energy or my time, or am I going to even have energy and time to go, all night? He said, all you have to do, Mike, is show them how to work the machine. Work the machine, work the machine. So you take a deep breath way down behind you. And if you do that snore breathing, or Franco Corelli's Muller maneuver, he and Jerome Hines, that's activating the muscles way down your lower back that suck the air in against resistance. See? So if I've got that, now, I'm ready to sing, but is my breath prepared to sing? If I'm not careful, I have to do something. I have to do something to get everything started. How do I just start? Breathe. So if you do all these instigators, all these vocalists all the time, they will literally train not only your breathing and your back and your muscles and your rib cage, they will train your mind to understand how to attack a note. How do I get started? And some are big, some are small. Some are lyric, some are sweet. Breathe. Breathe. See, all I did was a little the first time, but it still wasn't ideal because I had to do something to get started. The second one, I did something so that I could start cleanly. See, and those of you who do early music and the pre-classical and early classical music and Baroque music, you've got to be dead on. You can't go oh. Now, Franco Corelli was a great singer, and he always scooped. And nobody liked to scoop, but everybody loved him and loved his voice. So you can get up and sing and get away with things sometimes, but it's not ideal. If you do, let's say you want to use accents. Some people do that. They're called martellati. So what if I sing like that? My back is squeezing like crazy. What do you feel in your back when you do that? All of these possibilities of the voice, you have to know what is happening with your breath all the time. The breath is making the voice. I always tell everybody this vibrates and this phonates and this resonates, but it doesn't sing. The back does the singing. See? In other words, as Richard Tucker said, see, the high note, the voice does nothing, the breath does everything. So if I do all of these things, well, what happens if I smell the flower? I go, now have I prepared my breath to sing? So realize when I breathe in and stop the breath, that was a term that was really used mainly by Lily Lehman, and people started using it. But I'm going to stop my breath, and I'm going to pre-sneeze. La 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 la. Now what is my back doing, and how did I prepare my back and my breath to start singing? So there are certain actions you can make, the reaction of which sets up the breath to be ready to sing. So if I hiccup, I can sing. If I do the pre-sneeze, right? If I smell the flower, you mean I got to smell the flower the whole performance? Yeah. If that's your technique, why not? See? See? You got to be able to you have to sing very dependably. If you work with conductors, and I sang, most of my singing was either in Germany or based in Germany. I traveled all over the place from Germany. And when I sang, for instance, in Portugal, I sang Lisbon, gorgeous, incredible, beautiful old Baroque style theater, but half the cast was Italian, and you heard them doing things that would not have been acceptable in Germany. They were not precise, the notes were not always clean, the rhythms were not, but they sang great. So nobody cared. Meanwhile, all those that were singing in Germany were much more correct and much more precise. And the Italian conductor loved us, preferred us, but the other singers were sometimes preferred by the audience because they had a kind of, and they didn't care so much about purity of every note. They wanted also that emotional, sentimental way of singing. So what happens if I cry, if I breathe? Was my breath prepared for me to sing or not? So we have to find out when we go along what are these various methods that people use to be in preparation, right? If I do, let's say I do something like, I don't know, some big piece. I have to do, some dramatic piece, right? Something like, let's see, I don't have any notes over here, right? Siegfried, see? What do I do? Blase die Balk, blase die Glut. Now I have to do that for about 4.5 hours. Why am I laughing? Why am I laughing? I was offered that all the time. They offered me Siegfried and the Götterdämmerung Siegfried, and then they offered me Tristan and Isolde and Tannhäuser. Do you imagine? Right. So what do? So I can sing one phrase of it, maybe. I don't know. But to get out there for 4 hours and do that and be a good singer, I don't know. It's not the easiest thing in the world. I can only tell you, there aren't many of them, are there? Usually the guys singing the repertoire are guys like me who don't really have the right kind of voice, but they can sort of beef it up. If I do, let's say, I'm doing yoga, and I do Breath of Fire. Now, how does that sound if I use that when I sing? Blase Balk, blase die Glut. If I did yoga all the time and I did Breath of Fire all the time, funny enough, Breath of Fire gives you energy. If you're feeling tired and you're having a bad day, just do some Breath of Fire. You'll feel better. Like after that phrase, to avoid fainting and falling over, I'll sit there and do a little Breath of Fire to at least stay awake. So anyway, that kind of music. If you want to put on the recording of Laurits Melchior singing the Anvil song from Siegfried, you'll hear what the orchestra's doing. You will not believe it. You will not believe that any human could sing over an orchestra like that. Right? And it scores fantastic when he does it. He just tosses it off. He said, "Yeah, those parts for me were easier, no doubt. Hard for me were the lyric parts, the light parts. Meistersinger, Lohengrin, they were difficult for me." I said, "Oh, holy cow!" Anyway. So you get the idea. So if I wander through some of these things and I think, oh my gosh, like George London's whole technique was just to open the mask by breathing. Now if I do that, what does it do to the preparation of my breathing? See that? Ein Schwert verhieß mir der Vater, ich fänd es in höchster Not. Can I do that all night? Well, maybe. Maybe when I was younger, I could have, for sure. Then we have the glottal stroke. That's way too forward in the throat. So if I go behind the glottal stroke and get now what? See? But now what am I going to do? Balk, blase die Glut. I could sing that, and I had a pretty big voice, pretty strong voice, but I was not a Heldentenor. My voice was like a notch, what the Germans call a jugendlicher Held, which means a youthful hero, not the big hero. And so, doing all that big music, so I find out techniques and ways to get through it, but so what? So what? I have to fight the orchestra all the time, and in some of the music, it's very low. And Tristan, of all things, and Tristan and Isolde is about a 45-minute duet that's just pure mezza voce the whole time. Which means if I do mezza voce, I have to have the kind of voice that's going to fill that music up. It's not enough to be heard if you're just heard lightly. You should be heard with all the incredible emotions that are going through Tristan during this mad, incredible love, this insane love that he has for Isolde. Then you had the Lamperti Stai. We talked about how the babies, he was studying babies. And you notice they all go, ah, ah, ah. So if I make that form when I breathe, and then I sing, what kind of voice do I have, and what has happened in my breath, and what's the preparation to sing for something like that? Now I got to breathe again, and I have to prepare myself in my breathing to sing. So if I do this, stai, that's what Lamperti said, the stai form. So I go, and my breath prepared? And it could be It's Much Ado About Nothing, because that's not a great big held in tenor sound like you wish. And this guy's on the stage killing himself and doing every technical thing he's ever learned to try to survive and get through this thing. And you're saying, I couldn't hear him very well, or he could not make the effects that he should make. So anyway, I just thought I'd talk about this. If you breathe, all right, that's good. Now, am I prepared to sing? It's interesting that Caruso talked about the contrary motion. So he saw preparation as an action. So I breathe. See? And then he said, keep the breath well down toward the abdomen. So I go, and now, you know what that's like? That's like the sighing method. Keep aside here in La Claudia Muzzo. Caruso say, take a deep breath and pull your abdomen in and breathe your lower back. And when you sing to a contrary motion, somebody go, so the motion becomes the preparation at the same instant. By preparing to make this motion that is contrary to the way you breathe in, you are creating a preparation for singing. Marvelous technique. It's like a sigh method, but down low from the navel down. I talked a little bit about sighing from the navel down. See, so I don't have to go and all this stuff. Pavarotti simply leaned on his navel. What did my back do? If my back does this, when I'm going to need breath for singing, I'm going to have to breathe there and fill it up. Because it'll do it again. So the thing about Pavarotti was his consistency, how he always sang on that spot. And a lot of discussion about him talking about covering. Well, do you mean the tone was covered? Terrific. Do you mean that he covered it as a verb? No. If I do nothing, la 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 la, it covers like mad, and I didn't have to make an action. Right? But if I have to make an action, la la, you'll never hear Pavarotti do that. Never. See? So by maintaining a totally free throat and keeping the breath on the navel, you go, now I'm going to sing with a contrary motion this time. La, 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 la. So they asked Leonard Warren, what note do you cover on? And he said, actually, my entire voice is covered. I said, so, now what does that mean? He used the pre-sneeze and the still front. So he went, no. So he thought already, well, that's covered. Never occurred to these great singers go, la, 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 la. People do that who sit home and listen to records and think they hear people doing it, but not doing that. What they're doing is nothing. La, la, la. And you know what? If you do that, you're going to understand every word I'm saying. Oh, I can talk to you like that. I don't have to modify my vowels. I don't have to do anything. I may have a slight Texas accent, but I don't have to modify. I used to cheat on words like any, because where I grew up saying anything. So I had to learn to say anything. So I learned that how to sing like a big A vowel up there. La 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 la, anything you want. Want, instead of saying won't, I would have to learn to sing it want. See? So all of these things are done on breathing, and the breathing, when you get it, let's say you're lucky and you got a huge breath in your lower back. Now, how do I prepare to sing? What happens to the preparation of my breath if I want to sing? So I go, how am I going to sing now? How many ways did I show you? Remember at the fire? La. How about that one? Breathe. Contrary motion. La. What else do I do? See? I'm already running out of ideas. Because I sang 64 rolls and every big concert piece you could think of. Like Verdi Requiem and Das Lied von der Erde of Mahler. I sang Penderecki's Utrenia. That's a 166-piece orchestra with no microphone, 60 brass players. You can't believe the stuff that you sing if you're a full-time tenor in the German system. One thing you do is a lot of concert work, but big orchestral concerts. I was not a recitalist, But if we have no microphones and a huge space, what do I do with my breath? How do I prepare my breath to make my voice carry like mad? Let's say I want to use the crescendo decrescendo, la messa di voce, and I go. What is my breath doing when I do that? And how did I prepare it? See, big breath behind me. Then I take my smallest sound and go. What did I do with my breath? How did I prepare to sing with that sound? How did I prepare if I'm going to crescendo it? What do you do in your breathing all the time? Una furtiva lagrima. What do I do with my breathing and how do I prepare it? And those of you who breathe constantly, down deep behind you, and if you do the snore breathing, the belly goes in by itself because it's what they call the diaphragmatic lift. It's a diaphragmatic way of breathing, and on the back half of the diaphragm, so I go. See, then I learn to go. And my belly doesn't flex at all. It goes in, but it's soft. And when I start to sing, I can either sing with what I now recognize is a certain kind of action, or I can lean my breath someplace on a more, let's call it traditional way of singing. I can go, huh, and put my breath on that button and go, ah, but my back's going like this the whole time. Which means I could have done that in the first place, not had to go through this complicated procedure to get the voice to sing. If I can remember that, where that was, so the inhalation prepared me to sing, especially with the so-called contrary motion method that Caruso swore by, and you breathe. What's contrary to that? Think about it. Some singers say singing is inhaling. All right, let's go. Let's keep doing that. My back still closes, but this time my preparation was in the fact that I inhaled before I sang it, and I continued that thought. And of course, I'm not really inhaling when I sing, but I imagine I am. And it works. Nobody knows why. In 1816, there's a great reference by a soprano named Shoney, where she says, she made some great discovery. She said, singing is inhaling. So I just wanted to talk about a little bit, continue this sentence about preparation. It's all about, now if I do this correctly and I inhale and I do a contra motion, I've done my preparation just by inhaling. If I sing while I'm still inhaling, if I do breath of fire, I do this down low in my body, in my abdomen, and it prepares me to sing. I do that, and I go, so you see what I'm nagging about is it's always breathing, always breathing. I revere Richard Tucker, the memory of him is a great singer, and he's the one who said, see, the breath doesn't, the voice does nothing. The breath does everything. And I've been a convert ever since. I believe it. And I sang all those operas and all those roles using this approach, where the voice doesn't do anything. That's why I'm 83 and I can still sing. I can still sing all day if I want to, because I don't sing extreme high notes like I used to. I used to sing, they're sort of easy in a way, but I'm sort of afraid that the old muscles will, will give out, and I'll get up there and breath will slip, right? But let's say I do breath of fire. Let's say I do the high note while I'm still breathing in. See, in other words, it's all about breath, and then what you do with the breath. I breathe in a way that makes my back, and while I'm singing phrases, I feel the squeeze like mad. But what about the attack? If you hear the glottal stroke, it's absolutely wrong. So if you're a glottal stroker, then you should have somebody listen to you until you get it behind the glottal stroke. You can do staccato. What did my breath do to enable me to do that? What's my breath doing? So it's always the breath. Okay, well we've touched on that subject. It's much more of a performance subject than it is a developmental subject. And usually in the videos, I'm sort of always leaning to the developmental side. Okay, but you can say you're going to have to get them to sing one day too. Okay. Okay, bye.